What the f*** is this? Welcome to the Rhythm Shack. Have you ever thought your RPG gacha game needed more rhythm? No, me neither. But for some reason Genshin sure does, and since it's permanent this time, that's exactly what I'm going to be looking at today. Because unfortunately, if anyone is qualified to review this, it's probably me. And really quick, before we begin, thanks for all the support on the Rhythm Game Guide video. Everyone was super nice, and if you haven't checked that out, go do that here. Okay, let's get started. Okay, to get the item to actually play the rhythm game, you have to complete the world quest To the Winds of Freedom, that for some reason I don't remember showing up in my quests, but it will take you through the intro, which is mostly just some dialogue between Sansa, who is a local bard in Mondstadt that just finished butchering a performance.
All goes quiet on Starsnatch Cliff, high in the trees.
And Venti, who shows up to give some helpful advice along the lines of, believe in yourself and you'll be the Hokage, or something like that. After this, you get the item Repertoire of Myriad Melodies that will give you access to the rhythm game. Now, this game mode has been in the game before as an event-specific mode, but I didn't play it very much at the time, so this is all mostly first impressions. Upon using the item, you'll be taken to the tutorial and setup area, which I was pretty pleasantly surprised by, as it has a nice offset adjustment interface, and it will explain how the game works. After this, you'll be shown the main menu of the game, which will show you the libraries of songs from different regions, and your stats from playing the game. The game has official charts and also has a community chart editor, which is a pretty cool feature and honestly something I wasn't expecting from a minigame in Genshin. The first thing I want to go over is all the settings for the game, which are surprisingly in-depth. The game has two interfaces, one regular flat interface and an angled one depending on your preference. The hit sounds are also volume adjustable, and you can change the hit sounds as well by using the instrument option in the settings. The game has even got scroll speed adjustments, which is a blessing for someone used to reading at a million miles an hour like myself. You can change the key bindings as well, and overall for a game I wasn't expecting pretty much anything out of, this is some nice attention to detail and definitely makes it more playable. Onto the actual gameplay, the layout is a little strange because it's so wide, but this is also something I'm probably not used to based on the other games I've played. There are 4-key and 6-key options, but when you play 4-key, the other lanes for the notes are still around, which feels a little weird. The timing feels pretty good on most of the official charts, but after playing for a bit, I did notice that the hit window is pretty forgiving. I was definitely missing some notes, but still getting credit for them if I managed to hit the correct key fast enough. The hit sounds in the game are fine, but when I was playing, they felt a little off on timing, and they aren't exactly the highest quality either, which is mostly personal preference, but I did find them a bit distracting after a while. After you complete a song, you'll be given your accuracy, how many notes you missed, and a rating for your score. This is a pretty standard end screen for a rhythm game, except instead of ranks like A, B, C, or S, you get ratings like Discantus and Canoris to really emphasize the fact that you are, in fact, better than everyone. And speaking of better, the visual style of the game is quite nice. There are a lot of bright colors and cool effects, which does look very pretty, but it can also make it a little tricky to read or focus on the more difficult maps. Obviously, this isn't supposed to be the most competitive rhythm game on the planet, even though some of the community charts will tell you otherwise, and the gameplay experience is pretty okay. Each different song has higher and lower difficulties, and I actually found myself struggling on some of the more difficult 6-key charts. Jumping back to community charts, let's take a look at the Score Exchange. The Score Exchange is where people can create their own maps for songs and share them, and it's even got its own rating system. So if someone submits some hot garbage, you can let them know with a scathing review of room for improvement. There are options to filter through 4-key and 6-key, different pattern types, difficulties, and even genre and BPM, which makes this pretty accessible. A lot of the community maps I've played so far are pretty well made and incorporate a lot of patterns you'd see in other similar rhythm games, which makes them feel even better. The current song selection in the game is pretty small, but for what's currently available, it's got a decent amount of variety in genres. I mean, it is all Genshin music. It does say other songs will be added over time, as the current available list as of recording this video only goes up to Fontaine. Clearly, Genshin is a massive game with an equally massive soundtrack, so in the future, I'd imagine a lot of songs will be added to this. There is an option to favorite charts when you play them, which I would highly recommend doing since the score exchange will only give you a few songs each time you refresh, which is also kind of weird. The last bit of the game is rewards, and while this game did have some decent rewards during its time as an event game mode, the only rewards you can get currently are some primo gems for completing the tutorial exercises, titles for the player, and different color schemes, which is nice to have that option, but also it's still a gacha game and I need my primos, you cheap f***. Okay, that aside, I started this video thinking that this was going to be awful, but overall it's fun and it's pretty well put together for a minigame. There's nothing particularly interesting or unique, and the game follows a lot of other 4-key and 6-key games, but for what it is, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. As per usual, thanks for watching. This video was a bit more of a fun project, but I've got some cool guides coming up soon as well. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it, and also consider subscribing to my channel here. If you've got any suggestions for future topics you'd like me to cover, definitely leave them in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later.